What's the name of your broadcast?
Good evening, everybody. We're live in the pits of motor chaos with your host Dave, and I got on the line with me, nostalgia funny car driver Chris Davis. Hey, Chris, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. How you doing?
Pretty good. So, Chris, how'd you get into this whole drag racing thing?
Oh, well, I started street racing back in my teenage years and was getting in too much trouble and ended up getting sent out to the local drag strip, and that started it all.
You were so rude, Dave.
And so you were doing a illegal street racing before you got on the drag strip?
Yeah, actually here in Spokane there was quite a bit of street racing going on and stoplight to stoplight stuff, and they started cracking down, so we had to make our move to the strip.
So what was the first car you were street racing in?
I still have that car out back. That was my high school car, old 1969 Nova, 4-speed. It was a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of trouble, but a whole lot of fun.
I love Chevy Novas, 4-speed.
Did you hear what my wife said?
I did. I still got that car out. I'm gonna bring it back one day.
What color?
It's maroon.
Ooh,
Dark maroon.
take a picture of it and send it to Dave.
Oh, it's been sitting out back. That was my old high school car. It's been out back for 15 years, easy, just sitting there. But it's pretty cool looking. So got the flares and the scoop and all that. Just waiting for some love, you know.
Oh, yeah, take a picture of it and send it to Dave. I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll get out there and click one off.
Okay, after you know what Dave is doing.
Now, when you started racing on actual drag strip, what'd you start racing in?
I actually came across a Vega panel wagon. Someone had started to build into it like a pro stock car that never finished that project, and I got that deal right, and I just built that car and started bracket racing with it.
So what year did you start bracket racing?
Oh, I started, late 90s, or, probably late 80s, I'm sorry. Late 80s. That's when I started, right out of high school. Started getting into it pretty heavy.
Okay. Then after bracket racing, what'd you get into?
Well, the local parts, I don't know, you call them the wrecking yard and the Chevy graveyard. He had like a Chevy speed shop. The local guy there, he took a shine into me because I was just out running my own stuff and building my stuff, and he hooked me up with a really good deal on a nice old ex-top build front motor dragster. And I started racing that slingshot with just the iron big block for a long time, just making the transition from a carburetor, the fuel injection, learning how to run mechanical fuel injection, to the supercharged world. And ran that car for a long time in the NE1 class, and back when the good guys had the series, and up to, years not too long ago, before we switched to fuel.
So what year did you start racing Nitro?
Probably about 6-7 years ago, maybe a little more. We were running the NE1 car, and I just got tired of getting beat when you'd win. You'd run right on your number or just a little under the index. And, back then, front motor dragsters, top fuel was king, so we were gathering parts to build a front motor fuel car, and then we ended up scoring a funny car chassis, and that's where it all started.
So now the funny car you're currently driving, the nostalgia car, what year did you start driving this one?
Well, this one, I picked this chassis up about 2 years ago with the aero body, and it's it's a more contemporary chassis than the other car, so it's, the benefits are huge. They're just, new pipe, better product.
So now, what made you put that name on the car that's on there?
style. You know, we don't run a computer. We tune it with bearings, spark plugs, you know, and we just do it with our friends. So we don't have a lot of money, so we all just pull together and do what we can to make it happen. So that was kind of where the name came from.
Okay, so how many crew members do you have currently?
There's 4 or 5 of us that are pretty steady. They're good friends of mine. You know, they've been with me since the beginning of this, you know, since we bought our first barrel of Nitro. So that's what's cool, you know. So we just kind of it's a brotherhood, you know.
Yeah. So when you started getting into drag race, do you have any inspirational drag race drivers?
You know, yeah, I did an interview quite a while ago, just to write in one to the back when Fuel Coop was going, and it still stands firm. You know, back when I was a little kid, they had the ABC Wide World of Sports, and I can remember watching, you know, the Snake and the Mongoose and Garlets and those guys, and that was really my first, you know, introduction into drag racing. You know, 9, 10 years old, I guess, and it just kind of sticks with you. So that's kind of where I got the bug.
Now, with this nostalgia funny car, what was it like getting behind the wheel for the first time?
I'm sorry, what's that?
For this nostalgia funny car you're currently driving, how was it like getting behind the wheel for the first time?
Yeah, it was it was a rude awakening, that's for sure. You know, you drive a long front motor car, they drive nice, and I was not prepared for the short wheelbase car, so it's some getting used to, and you know, you gotta get up on the wheel on those things to drive them.
Now, when they put the hood down on you for the first time, you didn't get nervous or anything?
No, that really didn't bug me. You know, it kind of puts the sound away from it. You know, you lose a little bit of your vision, but yeah, it didn't bug me much at all.
So what's the quickest pass you've made with this car?
So far, we've been 583, a little over 243.
Yeah.
So we're pretty happy with that.
And
we'll just kind of keep using that as a stepping stone.
And what track was that at?
That was in Seattle earlier this year, yeah.
Okay. So currently, is your family involved with your drag racing?
Oh, yeah. My boys and my daughter, she always goes with us. She's a backup girl, and she actually works on that. You know, does a little help maintaining cylinder heads in between rounds and whatnot. And since my boys, when they're available, they have to work. You know, they're young adults, so they grew up at the racetrack with Dad. So every time they get a break for income racing, they're in all the local races. But when we're out traveling, it's harder for them to get away. But yeah, they're pretty involved regardless.
Yeah, I know your daughter takes care of the Facebook page.
Yeah, she loves it. She's been getting some seat time in my buddy's super comp dragster that we built. Kind of a super comp deal. So she's been having a great time.
Yeah, because when I first messaged your Facebook page for the interview, your daughter answered me back.
Yeah, you know, she takes care of it more than I do.
Yeah.
I'm busy working, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the boat afloat.
So now, where do you purchase your nitromethane from?
Well, actually the last couple barrels I've actually bought through Austin and O'Brien Racing, because those guys have a deal that you can get it through the Nostalgia Funny Car Association. So that certainly helps a little bit.
Okay, now do you have any sponsors for the car?
Just some local sponsors, you know, some friends of mine that have small businesses, and they contribute. You know, they buy oil and spark plugs and bearings and, you know, commodities. They keep, like I said, keep it running. So concrete cutters, bunker buildings, just some good local guys that are, you know, friends of mine from way back.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Now, when you got the car at home, do you do most of the mechanical work on it yourself?
I do everything. You name it. I paint it, I weld it, I build it. Every bolt. I know every bolt of that car.
So now in 2017, how'd the car run for you?
hiccups near the end of the season, but we figured that out. But all in all, it was we were pretty proud of the season. We qualified at like almost every race we went to, and yeah, it was pretty stellar. We ran up against some of the best names in the business and did really well. So, we'll just build on that for the upcoming season.
Now, how many events did you run last year?
We ran like 8 races last year, and for the course of the summer on the West Coast, that's quite a bit. Thankfully, a lot of them are right here in my backyard, Seattle, Spokane, Boise and stuff, so.
Now, you were saying you went up against some of the big guys. Who'd you go up against?
Oh, man, I don't think there's one of the top 5 cars that I didn't race. Bucky, the California Hustler, Mark Sanders, you name it, I was right there in the fight with them. So it's, to run with those guys, especially just me and my buddies, based on our tune-up on what we learned from, making passes, that's, we feel pretty proud of the accomplishment.
Now, did you win any finals this year?
Did we run any what?
Did you win any? Did you get to the finals and win this year at all?
No final rounds, man. No, it was a tough season. It was one of those seasons you lose. We lost some close races, and as the rounds went a little later, we could have, advanced, but that's the nature of the sport,
Yeah. Now, throughout your drag racing career, have you earned any trophies at all?
Oh, yeah, I won a bunch of, tons with, the local bracket racing, running my front motor dragster. I've won quite a few races. I run it up at the March meet with that car. Yeah, I've done a lot of winning. In fact, I won a race here in Spokane with the first Nitro funny car I built. Ended up winning that race, and that was a pretty big deal. So.
Now, Chris, when you get ready for a weekend of drag racing, what goes into preparation?
Well, especially from my standpoint, being an owner, driver, tuner, you name it, it's making sure you have, preparation. Just making sure you're prepped, have all your parts, have all your stuff ready, plan ahead, and, don't be lazy, because laziness kills parts, Work on your stuff.
Now, what do you do for promotion for the car?
Well, half the time I'm so busy working on it, I don't do a lot of promotions, just word them out.
Then your daughter takes care of the Facebook page.
Yeah, it keeps that updated, lets people know what's going on, but you got to keep the lights on, man, so I can't just be pushing the race car as much as I'd love to. It's just, makes it tough,
Now these days, do you think having social media is important for drag racing?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, back in the old days, you just had to have the commercials on the radio for the drag strips and all that stuff, and flyers, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now you put a post on like Facebook and you get like thousands of people reading it.
Oh, it's a huge benefit. It gets people involved into it that normally wouldn't be.
Yeah. So, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on?
Oh, well, I got, Spokane is home, so that's my favorite of all, of course, and it's a great facility, but, man, I haven't been to any track on the West Coast that wasn't good. Seattle is stellar, Boise, without a doubt, and Bakersfield, of course. So, you gotta hit a good track, a car like this to, try to apply the horsepower. And so far, man, we rarely run into any sketchy tracks.
Now, have you ran 8th mile before or only quarter mile?
We did a little 8-mile stuff down in Yakima one weekend. It was pretty cool. They put on a good show. It's pretty fun.
So which one you prefer?
I like the quarter mile, but eighth mile has its place. Some of those tracks are a little shorter, so you can still, you can still really get after it in the eighth mile. That's for sure.
Yeah. So for 2018, do you have any events scheduled so far?
Any plans on going racing? Is that what you're saying?
Nah, any events scheduled already so far?
Well, we're aiming for the March meet, man. So, I mean, with a car like this, is how we run it. You take it one race at a time, and hopefully you do well qualify, get a little qualifying money so you can keep rolling. But yeah, I think we're gonna make the March meet.
No plans to ever go to Funny Car Chaos?
Where is that?
Texas.
Texas, man. You know how far that is for me? I'm like a stone's throw from the Canadian border, man. I mean, that's a long trip, but I don't put anything out of the question. You never know.
And the Hot Rod Reunion in California.
That's we'll be there probably in the fall. That's same venue as the March meet, down in Formosa.
Okay. So throughout your drag race career, have you had any accidents at all?
Yeah, you do anything long enough, something's going to happen. That race I won in Spokane, at the end of the run, the chutes just got wadded up, and it was midnight, pitch black, and I put her in the dirt up there, and bent the nose up. That's ended up, one of the reasons I had to switch, and ended up, buying this new chassis and body, because it just tore the nose off my Vega body, and, it was a bittersweet. You win the race, and you pile up your hot rod up there. And, I've blown up motors in the front motor car and caught that thing on fire and killed trannies. But, to have to have your stuff hauled back on a wrecker, that's a bummer. So there's, you're going to have, that stuff's going to happen,
Yeah. Okay, look, now we're at the fun portion, the questions of interview.
So what now?
All right, asking that. We're at the fun portion of the fun questions. Ready?
All right.
Ready for some fun questions?
Yeah, right.
if
Sorry, man, I'm in the shop and I got the compressors kicking on.
All right, so if someone gave you $150 million and said, Chris, can you build me a drag race track? Where would you build a track, and what kind of features would you put into the track?
Oh, well, let's see, $150 million. Well, first thing you got to remember, drag race, you're putting on a show for the fans, so you got to make it fan-friendly and in and out. And as far as location, well, you want to go where there's a lot of people, probably, Central California, get the draw from everywhere, maybe even inward, more towards the Nevadas. You could build a nice track in that area. They're still not too far from anyone and get the draws, but yeah, make it real fan friendly, like most racetracks are actually, where you can go down in the pits and hang out with the racers, and hate to say it, but you got to do the stuff that even the old promoter around here, Orville Moe, used to do. He'd get the wheel standers, he'd get the jet cars. That's what's going to bring revenue and bring people to the stands to see them funny cars. And the funny cars and top fuel, is always going to bring cars, and especially nowadays with that prep deal. Heck, man, you'd be all over. Jeez, sky's the limit.
Yeah. Now, would you put covers on the grandstands to keep the sun out for the fans?
Oh, well, yeah, if you had the money, damn right you would. Because the drag strip can be a grueling place, not even from a racing standpoint, but from a spectator standpoint. I've seen people with their little kids that brought their to the track and it's 100 degrees and miserable. No shade anywhere. It's not good.
Now, outside of drag racing, do you have any hobbies?
Honestly, not really.
No fishing, no hunting, no nothing, huh?
Nah, even in the Northwest, I grew up around it, and I never really got into it. Just drag racing and hot rods, you know, about it. Trying to feed the beast.
Now, if you were able to do time traveling and go back in time, would you do anything differently?
You know, probably not. I've had to blaze my own trail, and I feel I really don't think so.
Now, if you ever have vacation time to go with your family, what's your favorite vacation spot?
We like to do a lot of road tripping, you know, since the kids are, you know, young adults now, and my wife and I, believe it or not, the Washington coast is a fabulous place. There's all kinds of places hiding in there, and we've been exploring that a little bit lately, the last couple summers, and we've been really having fun with that. So there's all kinds of cool places in the world.
So when you race the car, does your wife come out too?
You know, she backed me for years when I drag raced the slingshot and the door car. She's tired of it a little bit, so she comes out to the races here at home. But other than that, she just lets me and the boys roam.
So you have a favorite food?
Oh, well, definitely drag strip cooked brisket for about 7 hours. That's one of the things we love to do, is cook well at the track.
Favorite beverage?
Probably water. We go through a bunch of water.
What's your favorite music, Chris?
Yeah, I like classic rock. You know, some of the newer contemporary stuff as well.
When you say newer contemporary, what are you talking about?
I don't know. They've been, you know, they got a little bit of the rockabilly, I heard. You know, pretty cool. You know, kind of a throwback. That's pretty good. Pretty good listening. And you know, growing up being a teenager in the late '80s and whatnot, you listen to a lot of AC/DC and, you know, bands of that era, some hair bands, you know.
Yeah, Motley Crue, Cinderella, Poison.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's how you grew up, you know.
Yeah. Now, if you weren't drag racing, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh, I'd be racing something. Not sure what.
So, what's been the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
You know, I really have to say probably going to the final round at the Hot Rod Reunion in my front motor car was a big deal. And then, as well as finally getting my license, my Nitro license. Because it took a little time, you know, doing it out of your garage with your buddies, you know, to get your car to run good enough. And those were some pretty pivotal times, you know.
Yeah. Now, if the fans listening to this interview wanna see your car run, what's the best way they can see a schedule? Probably the Facebook page.
Yeah, just the community Facebook page my daughter puts up. That's without a doubt the best way to see what's going on. Even in my shop, you know, 'cause I'm always doing chassis update or hot rod tubbing something, or, you know, there's a lot going on around here sometimes.
And the Facebook page is Chris Davis Nitro Funny Car, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's old school Nitro.
Now, Chris, do you have any last words for all the drag racing fans that are listening in?
Yeah, get to the drag strip. Check this stuff out, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of, get out in the pits and talk to the guys that are running these cars, because they're just, you know, a lot of these guys are just like you and me. You know, they're just working guys.
Yeah, like I always say, the best thing about drag racing is you always have access to the pits and the drivers.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's not like NASCAR, where you got to pay extra big amounts of money to try to get near anybody.
Oh, wow. A friend of mine mine went to a NASCAR race. He was telling me what he spent. I was blown away. I was like, man, I could have ran. That's enough to buy bearings and rings for the season. You know, I was like, holy crap. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that drag race.
That's unfortunate too, because it just, you know, it is unfortunate. That's okay. All the people that are discouraged, they can come right over to the drag strip and have the time of their life.
Yeah, then they can bring their kids in the pit and let them sit in your funny car and seat and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah. We keep popsicles in the pit and extra waters and stuff for the kids, just because.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks for your time for an interview, Chris.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you giving me a call.
Oh, no problem. You have a good night.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, I'm done.
I think about 30 minutes.